There too, we have some excellent numbers that we can look to. Excellent because they arrive from research. Some of you may have not heard is that there is a simple formula for how much fluid to ingest on average. Keep in mind this is on average when you're exercising. And I refer to this as the so-called Galpin equation. The Galpin equation states that you should take your body weight in pounds, divide that by 30, and that will give you the number of ounces of fluid to ingest every 15 to 20 minutes on average while exercising. If you are ingesting caffeine, whether or not it's from tea or coffee, I highly recommend increasing your non-caffeine fluid intake about 2 to 1 for every volume of caffeine. So in other words, if you have 6 ounces or 8 ounces of coffee, you're going to want 12 to 16 ounces of fluid, ideally fluid with electrolytes or a little pinch of salt, in order to offset that dehydration.
So we should stop drinking water about half an hour before the meal and start drinking about an hour and a half to 2 hours after the meal. If you're thirsty after the meal, by all means have a mouthful. A mouthful's not going to do a huge amount. But when you have a whole glass of water, that's when we start to dilute the hydrochloric acid. So what food will take you this distance?
When we think about diet and nutrition, how many of you out there consider your hydration status to be an important component of that? The fact is, it's critical to your overall health, and about 20% of our water comes from our food. Consider foods that are higher in water, like apples and pears, cruciferous vegetables, melons, root vegetables, celery, greens, dark leafy greens, grapes, squash, peppers, and tropical fruit.
Correct ratio of electrolytes is extremely important because every cell in your body, but especially your nerve cells, your neurons, relies on electrolytes in order to function properly. So when you're well hydrated and you have the appropriate amount of electrolytes in your system, your mental functioning and your physical functioning is improved.
Here's more of what you don't know about hydration. Another Nerd Minute.
I love these.
There are actually 2 types of hydration. Most electrolytes do the type 1. You have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium. They all combine with water and they fill the cell and occupy the space with water and electrolytes. That's hydration. There's another type of hydration, though, that really nigh on does 1 and 2. That is when the food, the glucose, and the oxygen come into the cell, combine with the mitochondria to actually produce energy. And when it produces the ATP, the energy that drives your cells, it produces 2 things. One is carbon dioxide. You breathe that out. It also produces water, H2O. That is cellular hydration too. That's type 2 hydration. Nion gives you both.
If you think drinking a lot of water is always safe, you might want to think again. There is a condition called water intoxication, where excess water accumulates in your brain, which can be very dangerous. This occurs when you're low on electrolytes, particularly sodium. If you are exercising heavily and losing a lot of salt through sweat, drinking a large amount of water simultaneously can be risky. The medical term for this condition is hyponatremia. In this scenario, the water dilutes electrolytes, especially sodium, potentially leading to further dehydration. To prevent this, whenever you drink a lot of water, add a pinch of salt to help maintain electrolyte balance and avoid dehydration.